The key to unity. Very intriguing. Where is the key to unity between people hidden? I'm anxious to find out.
Our quest for unity has led us through ancient times, through Jesus' ministry, and this week we find ourselves looking at the birth of Christianity. The author leads us through the entire epistles to the Ephesians in 1 week.
The lesson, rightfully so, makes a note that when Apostle Paul wrote the letter to the Ephesians, he wrote it with the complete knowledge of the demographics of the church there in Ephesus, that was promising nothing else but problems and divisions. Big economic center, Ephesus had people coming from different backgrounds and cultures. The church there consisted of Jews and Gentiles with different social statuses. Interestingly, regardless of it all, the apostle believed that the church can be one and united there. And how revolutionary this was for its time. The key to unity, however, according to Paul, was in realizing that we were all coming of the same family, the family of Christ. We are adopted back in the sonship, says Paul, as long as we have accepted Christ. And family is special. We do things differently for family. We love family differently. We measure for family differently. We sacrifice for family differently. We're willing for family differently. We end up bonded differently because of family, and this creates unity, doesn't it?
The illustration with family is great, but we are specialists in creating issues between families. All the folklore that we create. We should not forget that it's one family and that we have been adopted into it. Without Jesus, there is no family. And we should also know our place in it as well.
If you in your life have already passed into adulthood, there is no way that you have not already discovered that people build walls around them to protect themselves from the rest of them, from the rest. What walls, you might ask? How about skin color wall? How about nationality wall? How about cultural background wall, educational intellectual wall, conservative Democrats wall, and what not? It's true though, walls do protect. However, they powerfully divide us too. When we are reunited with Christ, according to Apostle Paul, we are brought closer, nearer to each other, because he has broken those walls down. The wall in the temple that divided the Jews and the Gentile worshippers was not valid anymore. The curtain that was between the holy and the most holy place was torn apart. Circumcision in flesh was no longer needed, but by heart. And descendants of Abraham were not anymore of flesh, but by faith alone. Where walls were broken, unity took over.
This is a bit challenging when you try to project it into our reality today. How does it work? You can't just remove all walls. Even if we all live in tents, physically and metaphorically, there's still walls, at least for privacy. Also, you can't just remove barriers. You have to also build something for things to work. The context is very important, and it's very simple. We are all in the same desperate need for God to change us and to save us. Some may be more sophisticated than others, some may be fancier with more gadgets or clothes, but we are all struggling with our fragile nature. Now, when we let God do his thing, it gets different.
Moving further in the lesson, I'm silenced in awe when reading the words in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 1 to 6. Paul is so practical there and so much down to detail. You want unity, Paul says, verse 2 and 3. Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love. Make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. Is there any misunderstanding left for anybody here of how unity is achieved? Paul is so practical, and speaks in such a simple terms that I don't think there is any excuse left for us. In case somebody is still not completely sold on unity being the right way to go in our communities, the apostle shoots at us 7 times the concept of oneness. There is one body and one spirit, just as you were called to one hope when you were called, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all. Should we even ever consider separation, division, building walls after reading those words? Or probably on the contrary, we should start searching for similarities and common blessings and start maintaining the unity in our church and in our personal relationships.
We are not the same, but we are parts of the same body. We are parts though. What makes us a body is Jesus. Unity can be created with rules. I don't think it can be even demanded. When we try to impose unity, to regulate it, many times we just create divisions instead. Unity is built through experiences.
The lesson ends with how to experience unity in our personal relationships. And isn't that the most important? How do we go along in our relationship with our partner, wife and husband? How do we interact with our children, and what principles we're using in building these relationships? How do we connect with our co-workers or business partners? And again, Paul in Ephesians chapter 5 is simple and direct when he talks about submission, respect, love, care, as if it is for us, as it is done to our own body, the same way to treat those around us. What's interesting in all these valuable virtues that Paul presents here in this passage is that they're all powerless by themselves if it's not for Christ, who is the main motivator behind them. For example, it's not natural for a human being to submit themselves to another being if it's not for Christ's example. We don't see the value in it if it was not for Christ to demonstrate it. Also, it is not natural for us human beings to obey. It's not our strength. But Christ's life of obedience to his mission reveals the happy outcome of it all. Unity feeds on those values, on those virtues, and life is much more abundant when there is unity.
Home is the best place to experience and to build understanding about unity. Many things come into play, and our homes and families are also very different. Culture and environment play a big role as well, but it does help to reflect on how we deal with differences. Can we work them as a strength, or are they breaking our relationships? The lessons are bringing some good insights, but are they building better understanding in us?
The study of unity has a few more lessons to go, and next week we're looking at the experience of unity in the early church.